Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review on set 75309, the UCS gunship. Released in June 2021, it's an 18+ set with 3,292 pieces. I think it's easily the best build released in 2021. For the review, we're going to be using a table like this, and that's going to it's gonna be a rating out of 10. And it's got the minifigs, the build, the part usage, the uniqueness, and the controversy. I've added controversy for a set like this because it kind of needs it if you know what's been going on. And if you don't know, let the video explain.
The Republic gunship is a set from the original trilogy. We created two updated designs for these minifigures. One is a clone commander, which also doubles as the pilot of the ship.
As you can see, some LEGO designers aren't the smartest of people. I mean, I guess they get paid for building and designing the set, not for being genius about the interview, but you might as well try if you've gone to all that effort. Okay, I've gone a little bit off topic, but first up we've got the clone commander that also doubles as the pilot for the ship. Now, this minifigure also comes in a $15 set, so I doubt anyone will get this $400 set because of one clone commander that you could get for $15 if you really wanted to. But anyway, yeah, it's quite a nice figure, apart from the fact that you can get it a lot cheaper. But other than that, it's quite nice. I quite like it, even though it has no leg printing or arm printing. It's quite nice in my opinion. Next up, we have an exclusive Mace Windu minifigure. Now, this is the real deal. This one's lovely. It's got some dirt patches on it, and it may seem like it at first, but it doesn't have dual molded legs, even though it's got that white printing on it. But the dirt patches are lovely. It's exclusive and comes with a chrome lightsaber, so that's quite nice. Overall, it's a really nice figure. It has leg printing, obviously, but no arm printing, which is unfortunate when you can get arm printing in the Republic fighter tank, which is going for just $40. But if you get the Republic fighter tank Mace Windu, you won't have the dirt over the bodies. For all the minifigures, I give it a solid 5 out of 10. It's not the best thing ever, but then again, it's also not the worst. We could have gotten a completely plain Phase 1 trooper instead of that yellow commander, and we could have gotten a Mace Windu. No, not that one. Yeah, that one. Now moving on to the next stage, the build. My personal favourite. And I don't think there's much needed to be said. This is a pretty much perfect build. Apart from a couple holes here and there, it's all pretty much perfect. There's not really any glaring issues or massive gaps where you can see colour inside. It's all well rounded and really quite nice. There's one big gap at the front, and that kind of annoys me. But apart from that, it's all perfect. For the build, I give it a solid 9 out of 10. The reason I gave it a 9 and not a 10 is because you only give it a 10 if there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and it's completely perfect in every way. Whereas this has a couple gaps, maybe I just built it wrong, but this has a couple gaps here and there, and it just isn't completely perfect. Now on to the next section, which is part usage. I won't have as much to say for the next few as the build and the minifigs, because it's not a set like the Millennium Falcon where you have 7,000 pieces. Correct me if I'm wrong, it might be 6,000, but I think it is 7,000. It's got a couple of unique parts, like it's got the Jedi Interceptor cockpit piece, which they use 2 of those for the cockpits, and it also uses one of those fancy ball joints for the turret. They also use another one of those at the back. there are these strange balls. There are 4 of them, and two on the wings, and 2 out the front. If you haven't noticed, you can actually tuck those inside, and so yeah, that's quite useful. Personally, I prefer to have the balls out because it just looks better. There's these strange missile pieces, and yeah, I know they're for the sake of missiles because this is a gunship, but there are quite a lot of them. 8, 12 that I can count just by looking from where I am. There's not really much else to say. There's a bit of Technic, a couple of printed pieces, some stickers and stuff. There's not really anything else that's very interesting about this. It's all just regular plain pieces. Well, that went on for a lot longer than I thought. I thought it would only be like 30 seconds to a minute, but no, it was 2 minutes. And I guess that means it's time to move on. But wait! Before we move on, I completely forgot to rank these. The part usage section. So, for the part usage, it didn't use many different parts. It's not really that bad of something to not use very unique parts. But I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Almost went for 3 there. Now moving on to the next section, which is uniqueness. This section I'm going to be comparing it to other gunships, if there are any, which there are, and seeing how well it's done and how good it is compared to the others. There have been 3 play-scale gunships over the years, and no UCS ones. The first gunship, which I'm not sure what episode it's from, or whether it's from the Clone Wars, it looks quite bad, if I'm gonna say. And the minifigures are a lot better than the build. First is Jedi Bob, which is now quite expensive. There's a Phase 1 clone, a Droideka, and a Super Battle Droid. So, not the best minifigure selection. Now, the second one is from the Clone Wars. The build is a lot better, and the minifigs are also a lot better. There's Phase 1 Commander Cody, there's Obi-Wan, Asajj Ventress, Phase 1 Trooper, and Plo Koon. The third one, the build is even further improved, and the minifigures are a bit worse though. You got Anakin, strangely with a green lightsaber. You got Padme, a clone pilot, and a clone trooper captain, and both of those are Phase 1, sorry. You got 2 super battle droids, and that's from episode 2. So there is going to be another gunship, lost my voice there, and that's going to be releasing on August 2023, August 1st, and it's not going to be a Republic gunship. I'm not sure what the actual name is, but it's red, and yeah, it's going to be a gunship, and the minifigures that we know are going to be Commander Fox and Palpatine. I'm not sure what the other minifigures are going to be, but we're pretty sure that it's going to be Commander Fox and Palpatine. Now back to the set that I'm actually reviewing, the UCS gunship. It's got 2 minifigures, which is quite rubbish, and they're Mace Windu with some great arm printing. No, not arm printing, with some great dirt spots. And you got a clone pilot, a clone trooper, which also doubles as the pilot of the ship, because it has some yellow markings, and that's all that people remember. So anyway, the minifigures are rubbish, but the build is absolutely amazing, as stated earlier. The minifigures are the worst out of all 4 of the gunships, but the build is easily the best. It dominates over the others. So, yeah. For the uniqueness section, I'll give it a 4 out of 10, because it's there have been no other UCS gunships, but then again there are 3 other gunships and 1 more coming in August. Also, I've decided to add 1 more column to the ranking table, and that is going to be build, how how nice the build is, how nice building it is. So it's going to be like how repetitive is it, how nice is it going to be to build, basically. For the controversy, let's start off by saying the points are going to be negative. So, like, if it's 10 out of 10 controversy, it's going to be taking away 10 points from the final score. I don't think there's much needed to be said about the controversy because I said most of it earlier, or the LEGO interviewer said most of it earlier. It's basically not very good what he's said and done, so that's what the controversy is. I'm just going to say this now so I don't get hated on by the LEGO community. I mean no hate to Hans Burkhardschlomer. Please correct me if I said that wrong, because he is one of my favourite LEGO designers. He has created some of my favourite LEGO sets, and they all just turn out amazing. It's just some things that aren't his decisions, really, that don't turn out very well. You may not believe me, but every set that I just put up there is not a set that I like. Well, most of them are, but they're all sets designed by Hans Burkhardschlomer, the guy that I was just dissing. So, yeah. Or not dissing, depending on what you call it. I don't think there's much needed to be said for the rating about this. It's all pretty straightforward. I think we can all agree that it's just a 10. So that does mean that you take away 10 from the final score, not add it. The next section is build experience. So this is just my personal build experience and what I had with it. So if you didn't have a good time and I did, then don't complain, it's just my opinion. I personally had a really nice experience building this gunship because there weren't too many different parts, there wasn't too much Technic. We all hate Technic. It was just really nice and really quick. Well, not really quick, it did take me like 10 hours, but it was really nice, and I wouldn't say easy, but instructions are good to follow, easy to follow, and it's just, yeah, I really liked building it. I just spent a whole Saturday just there all day. I think this is quite straightforward. I like the build experience. I think it was quite nice. It wasn't completely perfect, which is why I'd give it about an 8 out of 10 and not anything higher or anything lower. Also, I have decided to add one more section, which is going to be personal bias. Now, for this set, I quite like the gunship. When I first saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that should be made into a LEGO set. Then I researched and found out it was made into 2 LEGO sets when I first saw it. Wait, no, it's 3. Yeah, I first saw it in 2014. For something like the Venator, I really want a UCS Venator. It would be a 10 out of 10, or something like a Playscale Snow Speeder, the 7th one or 6th one that we've gotten. That would get like a 1 or a 2. I think this is quite straightforward. The gunship is a nice ship. The build is a nice build. The minifigures aren't the best, but personally, because how nice the gunship is, not the LEGO gunship, just the gunship ship in general. Just because of how much I like it, and episode 2 is kind of irrelevant, but if they made it in episode 3 gunship, that would have been better. But basically, this, it's quite nice. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. You may have worked this out already in that genius brain of yours, but the answer isn't the best. It adds up to 29 out of 60, and that's not even half. It's quite bad. So that's, it's not the best. It would have been better if it didn't have that minus 10 from the controversy, but that's just how it works. The reason I got this set was because I mainly only care about the build, how good it looks on a shelf, and how nice it's gonna be when I see it. And my personal bias on the ship, which I honestly quite like the gunship, so yeah. If you like the video, please like and subscribe because, yeah. And this is basically my first video, if you don't include my starting video, which I don't really count. So this is basically my first video, and it would be really nice if you subscribed and helped me on my journey.